Apparently, that is a Nile crocodile habitat in Planet Zoo, despite the fact we don't have them in the game. But more about that later. While you're here, why not just stick with me while we create a beautiful natural habitat for these wonderful creatures in Zoo Sicily? Well, let's get started. And with that, welcome to a brand new episode in Planet Zoo. If you guys search for inspiration and you want to see a beautiful natural habitat, this might be the video for you. In today's build, we are going to create a lush, well, kind of lush habitat for the crocodile in here, and you're going to experience why this mod might be a very good choice for you as well. But more about that in the first speed build part of today's video. Let's get this done. Okay, now what we're going to create, obviously, is a new habitat right next to the spotted hyena. If you guys haven't seen that episode, it's on my channel, obviously, in the Zoo Sicily playlist. And as you guys know, Zoo Sicily is a zoo located, well, somewhat in Italy, obviously. And we are creating a rather modern zoo that is fully intentionally built, and hence we have a lot more freedom in terms of what could be created. Today, I'm doing something that I haven't done in a long time, and I think this is something you guys ask for quite a bit, and that is a different inspiration type of video for especially crocodiles and amphibian and reptiles, because people have asked for that so many times, and here I am building that. We are going to go a little bit more structured now through the actual thing. So if you guys are interested into a bit of a process, how you get to results like you've seen at the beginning of the video, you might want to stick with me in the next couple minutes. And after that, we're going to talk about the mod itself that I'm using here. And in the end, in the later part of the video, we are going to actually look at the mod in detail. It's done by Leaf and some others, and there are some things we have to talk about. So yeah, let's go first of all into the design of the habitat. Now, what I have done is something I'm doing quite often, and that is just go to Google, picture search, and type in the animal you want to do and add a name to it, or like a word to it. And the word I am using most of the times is exhibit or habitat. It sounds pretty obvious, but it helps a lot because it gives you not only the habitats you see in the game, but also the real life habitats. Or not in the game. Actually, you see quite a lot of screenshots from Planet Zoo if you choose an animal that is available in the game. However, obviously, you also get a lot from actual zoos out there. And with that, I'm going to start my process of doing certain things. But I had two different things in mind. So first, I wanted to make this habitat look quite like something I've seen in some zoos where they had very shallow kind of pools combined with a ramp between the different inclines where the crocs can kind of slide down into the lower part or the lower pond, which resembles quite a bit of what they have in real life as well. They always keep staying, or they do stay very close to the shallow riverbank, so they can just glide into the water and then just go, you know, when they go for a hunt, they basically they stay in very calm, very low water where they're hiding in the, you know, in the reeds and stuff, and then they do attack obviously their prey. Obviously they don't do that in a zoo, but you can kind of we kind of try to recreate what they have in real life, and that is the well, actually, the availability of very shallow waters and then combined with a couple of plants and stuff like that. But since you want your guests to see the animals, actually, you have to play a little bit with the different dimensions. And this habitat itself does have some very interesting viewing opportunities, which we are going to see actually in the real-time part today. I'm not going to talk too much about them quite yet, because I think it's way more important to talk about the overall, you know, structure of the habitat. I wanted to fill in that gap between the hyena habitat and the upper part of this area, which will guide us out of the African area. So we are still in the African area, and for those of you with eagle eyes, you will potentially have already spotted that there are different animals in the habitat at this point in time. You can take a guess which one these are, but they will be exchanged on a later stage. Why I've done this, I will explain actually when we talk about the mod in detail in a couple of minutes. But first things first, there is a second thing I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, and this is the building itself. You can see there is like a kind of a small Sicilian style building, which is not super detailed at this point. We are going to make this look a lot more detailed in the next episodes, because it's going to be part of a bit bigger structure, which I'm not going to reveal quite in this episode. It's going to be exciting because it will open into a new area. You can already start guessing what this might be, but this one has a specific task. It's not only the entrance to a new area and obviously the shelter for our crocs, it also is the highest focal point from the lowest part of the zoo. Sounds confusing in a way? Well, actually, it's not that much of a confusing thing. Remember when we joined the zoo, and if you guys are now confused because you stumbled into today's episode and you've never seen Zoo Sicily, I highly recommend watching the first episodes because you see the plan of the zoo. We talk a lot about the idea of the zoo, and obviously you have also the lowest part of the zoo, the plaza in kind of something like a valley, and from there you have the wombat habitat, and once you go towards the staircase, which also features our butterfly habitats, you watch up to the hill, you watch up there. And on top of the hill, at this point in time, there's not really that much to see, and so not really something that sparks the interest of our guest. And I wanted to have something up there which sparks the interest of guests, so you really want to go there. I mean, granted they grab a zoo plan, they might know already what's there, but we also want to give the people the chance without a zoo plan to really just explore the areas. And so there is going to be this building, which is kind of a weenie, and for those of you who've been with me for a couple of years, they will know the weenie. If you don't, stick with me on this channel. You may want to subscribe, and at one time you will know what a weenie is. At latest when there is Planet Coaster 2, I promise, okay? But it's nothing for today's episode. And so with that said, this building is going to be a weenie, a focal point that is kind of inspired by a little bit of a Sicilian chateau, even though this needs to be a different word in Italian, which I have no idea what that is. You can tell me in the comments, please. What's the equivalent of chateau for, like, I mean, I know what it is in French and also the usage in English. Maybe it's the same usage in Italian as well, because it's like a French word for what it is. I don't know, but you guys will tell me, obviously, in the comment section. Alright, I think it's the point where we have to talk about the mod, okay? As you guys know, I'm very hesitant when it comes to animal mods. Very hesitant. And there are several reasons to why, and before we talk about the Nile Crocodile in specific, let me just give you the context to why I'm so hesitant about the animal mods. I personally think that a game like Planet Zoo isn't kind of an art piece in itself, and I'm a huge fan of maintaining this art style as much as I possibly can, as long as it doesn't take away from the fun of playing it. And we have a great choice of animals already available in the game, so 99% of the times there is no need for a new animal for me personally, because I have enough interesting and exciting animals to showcase for you guys. If I were about just focusing my entire thing only on views and clickbait, obviously I could use like all mods out there to spark the interest because it's new, but that's not something I want to do. I want to make the choice very intentional to which animals I'm using. So in this case specifically, I wanted to do a reptile over here, and for whatever reason I didn't want to go with the Nile monitor, so I ended up with the idea of having crocodilians in here. I could have gone for the caiman, even though it's not location wise correct, but I thought I didn't want to stick too much to the locations and continents, but this it's kind of, it got an African area, so it has the African vibe going on, and I thought, there are obviously the well-known Nile crocodiles, so why not take them? And there is the gharial, but let's not talk about the gharial. I just don't like the gharial. I'm sorry, okay? It's cool to have it in the game, but I just don't like that animal. It's nothing personal though. I've never met one, but I just don't like them. So that's that. And there's a second reason. The reason why I used the alligator in here as a dummy is that the traversable area, especially of crocodilians in this game, is ridiculous, and I just don't want it. But I thought if I build the habitat for this animal, I can put every mod in, because the mods usually take a bit of a smaller, they always take the smallest available, as far as I remember, they take the smallest available skeleton kind of model available in the game and always use this traversable area for all of them, like the smallest hitbox available. So at the end, it always works better in your habitats as well. So 2 bonuses, so to say. But more about that in the real-time part, because we're already done with the time-lapse. So let's prepare for some real-time action and switch over into the real-time part. So here we are, and we are already just in front of this big boy. chilling in the water and actually having a little sleep. I love the fact that by now the crocs in the game do actually sleep in shallow water. I think it looks very dope, but we don't want to talk too much about this. Let's go right into this area here in front of the habitat. So this is the first view. I promise you guys we are checking out especially the views of this habitat because they have a little bit of a story. So you come into here, you do have the hyenas on this side, see them roaming around with this very nice transitions with the lion, and then as you move higher up, you will automatically go from the left to the right. So it's kind of like a switcheroo, you know, you come down here from our butterfly area, you go all the way up here, and then to the, you basically straight up run into the hyenas. You have to. You do see this quite nicely opening up to you, and then to the right hand side, you are bumping into the first view that you are granted to the crocodilians. But most of the time you might not see them because they are in the upper pool, who knows, or even one layer up there and just getting a glimpse of the sun, because as the shadow goes over the day, maybe this tree over here casts a bit too much shadow, as this one is experiencing right here. They might want to go and enjoy something else. So you naturally go further, and then you have a second nice view of the hyenas over here, enjoying their wonderful stay in the habitat. But that's not all. You just continue your way up. It just kind of meanders through here. And then we have this kind of little bit of a nice, I don't know what that is, like a little bit of a shade structure. And this one is not even a straight structure itself. It also should guide your view to the right hand side. And boom, there you go. You get this second wonderful view of another pool over here. And I just love how you have this nice glimpse, and it almost looks like a little river, and that was fully intentional to have this rock placement here on the left hand side, so you get the feeling the water flow continues to the back over here. Obviously it doesn't, but it just creates that feeling of a longer river and of something that, you know, they would actually live in. And the same goes here to the right hand side. Even though it just is cut over here from a certain angle, it looks like a river arm, while this one is just going fully straight through the cypress tree. Okay, well, you're magic. But then that's that, and you just continue your way. You might just want to grab like a drink, get another view of this wonderful meandering area or the nature just in general, whatever you do, and then you're taken out of the whole thing a little bit, because then it's time for the penguins over here. They all get a little snack, and then over here, oh, look at that. I'm still such a big fan of the penguin area, but that's not, you know, topic of our video today. So you go further into this area, and once you almost forgot about the crocodilians, you get another cool view of the habitat, and this time you get to see the little pool in which they can, you know, mud bath a little bit, and then again you have this water bottom again, and this time it just looks like a little lake because it's just kind of framed completely by the nature and by the background, and you just get another complete experience of this habitat, finished up of, you know, kind of sealed with this building at the end, which, as I said, is going to be a little bit of a surprise in the future of Zoo Sicily. And the last thing you see is the river from the other side, again giving you that little bit of a trick that it seems like a longer river that just goes on and tumbles down. So couple of design choices made over here that I saw in some of the inspirational pictures I saw online. And now we just jump out of this cam and go into a little bit of an overview so you guys can see the whole habitat in its full glory from a bird's view perspective, as you can see. So there's not really much going on, but with a nice usage of foliage and rocks and stuff like that, you can really diversify the perspective and just play with the perspective to a certain degree that it makes a lot of sense. Also, one thing I forgot to show you is once you're standing over here, you also get this feeling of a bit of a bigger habitat, simply because these rocks over here create a certain depth in the habitat, and so it just, the incline and the different levels make it appear bigger than it actually is. And this is exactly what I wanted to create, because that's just that space in the middle, which is not really that big, to be honest, but it just kind of fills in very nicely over here, and I'm pretty happy with this habitat, especially using the mod over here. I think makes a lot of sense to bring this African area to a very logical and very nice ending. I do hope that you guys loved this video. It was a bit of a different format this time around, so please, if you guys hung around till this point in time and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, because that just again tells the algorithm you like my content, you like my stuff. It's the easiest way to support me, and we are very close to the 80k really want to see that big 8 in front of my number. That would be lovely. Just kind of the number of infinite love, you know, if you rotate that by 90 degrees. Okay, I don't need to explain that. You guys know what I mean. Anyways, I'm rambling. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. As always, I'm trying to improve my stuff. Really hope you like the new format of a bit of a, explanation on what we do, combined with the entry of the video with the habitat kind of, it's almost like stop motion, which I will make a video about that, how this works, because there's a cool new trick to do that. Very neat little trick. So if you want to follow up with this trick, make sure to subscribe as well, because then you will be notified whenever this video is ready. I'm almost done with that, so shouldn't take too long. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a wonderful weekend, and make sure to drop a comment down below if you've got anything to say. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more of my stuff, top right is as always a video that you may like, and I talk to you in the next one. Have a great time.